Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Listen, I want to share with you today a story, a very interesting story that comes out of the Gospel of Mark, chapter 9. In this case, a guy brings his child to the disciples to have a demon basically cast out of this child. And the disciples are not able to do it. Okay. And so when Jesus shows up, there's a big commotion going on. It's a big old mess, and basically Jesus asks a few questions, and then he casts the demon out of this child. Okay. Now I'm not going to get into all of the ins and the outs of people being demon possessed. There's a lot to that, and that doesn't not real amazing like morning devotional material, which is more of what this is right here. But I want to read this verse here, verse 28 and verse 29. It says, "Afterward, when Jesus was alone in the house with his disciples, they asked, 'Why couldn't we cast out the evil spirit?' Jesus replied, 'This kind can be cast out only by prayer.'" And in some of the other Gospels, he says prayer and fasting. Interesting point. Okay. And this brings me to basically, this came up today in a conversation I was having. And often people get to this and they're like, well, what does it mean? That the disciples didn't pray when they were trying to cast out this demon, even though they had cast out a lot of demons previously. Is this a specifically different type or whatever? Well, I'm going to give you two clear answers. And I think that this passage of scriptures points to both of these things. Okay, Jesus is saying one of two things. Right? And he's probably saying both of these things. And this is super simplified so that we understand what he's getting at. The first thing Jesus is saying here is, you simply cannot engage in warfare against the demonic realm, against the devil, against demons, anything like that. You cannot engage in that kind of warfare in your flesh. Okay? It's a spiritual battle. It's fought in a spiritual way. And one of the only tools that we have for actually, going on the attack is prayer. Okay? That's how we go after the enemy. That's how, as a Christian, we tear down the strongholds of the devil. It's not us. We're going to God in prayer, and we're asking God to dismantle satanic and demonic strongholds in people's lives, in the world around us. And somehow, through the mystery of prayer, which is extremely fascinating, God hears what we have to say, and he acts. Okay? One of the best reasons to remember that we should pray is the fact that God hears our prayers. That alone is a powerful thing. But so one of the things that Jesus is saying when he says this kind is cast out only by prayer, what he's saying here is you've got to actually be fighting this battle the right way. And what the disciples were doing was they were casting out the demon. They were using the words, but they were not living the life, okay? They weren't doing what they should be doing, which is engaging in prayer, seeking God, having fellowship with the Lord. So they were missing that. That's part of the problem. Okay, here's something else that Jesus is saying here. If you're going to fight in the fight, it's not going to be easy. That's what he's saying. And this is what came up tonight. Okay. We don't do our life as Christians in pursuit of convenience. Okay? And I was reminded of this because we were talking about my childhood and when I got saved. And I got saved when I was in the 11th grade. And I hate to say this, but back then, almost nobody owned a computer. Okay? To give you an idea of how far back that was, right? So, and I'm sure a few of you are watching, go back further, that's fine, good. But back then, I remember, them talking about coming out with Bible software that would streamline your ability to study the Bible. It would streamline this and that and the other thing. Okay? And I remember thinking, man, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't it just be the best thing to have this Bible software where I could just click on the word and have the Strong's definition or have a, lexicon there, Thayer's, all of these different things. Man, wouldn't that be awesome? Greek tools at your fingertips. Well, when that came out, finally, it was thousands of dollars, okay? And I remember people buying it. I just couldn't fathom. And computers back then were expensive too. But couldn't fathom it. Okay, fast forward to today. Today, there are Bible tools that are free, that do all of that stuff. They have powerful Greek tools just out there. You can go to all kinds of Bible websites that do word studies, commentaries, audio, video, Bible studies. You could listen to Bible study after Bible study for, from now until the end of the millennium and probably never run out. Okay. And also, back then, we had tapes. We would buy a tape after the church service. Like, oh, that was really good. I got to get the tape, And then you would take the tape, you would listen to it, cassette tape. For all of you younger people, this is what happened before CDs, before the internet, before all that stuff. You'd get a cassette tape, you'd listen to it a couple times, you'd pass it around. People would share them, swap tapes, hey, I got this tape, blah, blah, blah. And, we did all of that. But here's the interesting thing. Now we have that stuff at our disposal. And now it's right there. You would think, man, there would be, just so many people out there now, so many more solid Christians than there ever was. But that's not the case. And the reason is because finding a convenient way to have a relationship with the Lord is not going to work. It's not convenient. Your walk with the Lord is not based on convenience or practicality. It's not. It wasn't convenient when that rich young ruler came to the Lord and said, hey, I want to be a follower. And Jesus said, sell all that you have, give it to the poor, and come and follow me. That was not convenient for that person. It wasn't convenient when, Jesus said, hey, you're better off to be in heaven missing an eye or a hand or something than to be in hell. That's not convenience. And this is one of the things. If you are in a spiritual battle, like in this case where they're trying to actually cast demons out of this, man, the enemy is not going to surrender ground to you just because you said a certain word. Or because, you've been to church a few times or you heard somebody did it this way or that way. Look, it's not going to be a convenient battle. You're not just going to win these things easily. Okay, our fight, if it was easy, the question is, would everybody be doing it? And the answer is no. There's honestly easy things. When something comes to you really easy, it lacks a certain amount of value to you because you just got it easy, But in this case, these guys, they just didn't know what to do. They They weren't living their life the way that they should. You don't stop a demon possessed person and say, oh, hold on, we need to have a prayer meeting real quick. Da-da-da. No, that prayer should have been already happening. These guys should have been seeking the Lord because they're in a battle. And listen, we need to remember something, that it's if you are constantly wishing you had something better or something else, you just need to understand something, that according to what it says in the book of Philippians, God knows what you need. He knows what you need. He knows what you need spiritually to grow and to mature. You need to trust him for that, and you need to ask him to just help you to understand that. Help you to grow and to learn according to his plan, according to his purposes. We also know it says, he who began a good work in you is going to complete it. Okay? So God has a plan to complete the work that he started in you. He has a plan to get you from here to there. But if you think that plan is going to always cater to your own ideas of logic, to your own ideas of efficiency or practicality or anything like this, I hate to be that guy that breaks it to you, but you're wrong. Okay? And as a matter of fact, if those things are important to you, those may be some of the first things to go. Because we need to get to that point where we're literally clinging to Jesus only. And our faith is not in Jesus as long as everything goes well, or, I trust the Lord as long as everything is working out the way that I think, or anything like that. Our faith has to get to the point where we're literally saying, I'm trusting Jesus because everything else I trusted in is going to destroy me or bring me to hell and is ruining my life. I'm trusting Jesus because he is the only way to the Father. Now, we have to just be in the same place that these guys are. When something happens and it fails, we have to go to the Lord and say, Lord, why did this fail? But so often, it's because we were doing the wrong thing yesterday, right? We weren't prepared for the battle. And I cannot tell you how many Christians I know that basically walk into the heat of a battle completely unprepared. And so often it leads to a lot of defeat. It leads to a lot of bad decisions. It leads to sin. It leads to defeat and failure, or just basically getting blindsided by the attack of the enemy. And don't think I'm condemning anybody, because I see this in myself. I walk into a situation and everything goes sideways, and then I realize I was not prepared for that. I wasn't on my guard. I was not being watchful or sober. I just thought it was going to work out. I just thought it was going to, go the way it should. And I'm just telling you, that doesn't work out. It's not like that anymore. It never was like that. So anyways, listen, we need to, today, we need to be reminded that where our victory lies is in our continued communion with our Savior. Okay? Continued communion. That is what Jesus would talk about in John 15, where he says, abide in me, right? That's the place that we need to be. And so as we walk in that communion with the Lord, as we walk in this prayer life, our time in the Word, if we do these things in honesty and sincerity, and because of our love for our Savior, then he works powerfully. He does things in our life. We are prepared for the attacks because we're in the place where we can be attacked and still survive those things. But if we're just lollygagging around, acting like, everything's going to work out, looking out for our own practicalities and everything, it's going to be a problem. So those are things to consider today. I hope this ministered to you. I hope that it challenged you and maybe helped you to have some clarity. If so, please leave a comment. I appreciate those comments. I love reading them. And please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Also share this with people. If you know people that are struggling or going through some difficult times, it might be a good thing to encourage them. So share it out. May God richly bless you.